wishbone, have my brain tied behind my back just to make it fair for everybody. Otherwise, it'd be bloody every day on this program. Here's Terry in Philadelphia. Great to have you. I'm glad you waited. Welcome.
Hi, Rush. You are truly a brilliant man. I have to tell you, every day I listen to your show. I was sitting here in the car, and I'm thinking as you're going through this article about all these criticisms of Mitt Romney, and he better hurry up and name his vice president. When did you, I was thinking of it in terms of, okay, let's put Obama in there instead of Romney and see how this plays out. I guess Joe Biden would have to pick a new vice president, but it says nobody ever talks about Obama in the ways that they talk about Romney. And I was listening to that litany of trash that you were referring to, that of how the news coverage is for Romney, and it's really scary.
It's just the orders have gone out and throughout all of the mainstream media, and it is Romney, gaffe after gaffe after gaffe on his foreign trip. No matter what happened, no matter what he said, we're reporting it as gaffes. The reason that they heckled him with the questions was so that they could report that he had no answers and that he appeared flummoxed and stymied and out of place and didn't know what he was doing. But you're right. You have never seen a story like that about Obama in politics.
And try and put Obama's name in what
No.
read.
You can easily put George W. Bush's name in there. You can put any Republican's name in there. But you will never see a story of that tone and with that purpose written about any Democrat.
That's shameful. It's absolutely shameful. And thank you so much for doing what you do.
You bet. Thank you. Speaking of which, let's go to the audio sound bites. Late yesterday afternoon, CNN's newsroom. The anchorette, Brooke Baldwin, is speaking with the political correspondent, Shannon Travis, about Ted Cruz and his primary victory over David Dewhurst. And Baldwin said, "What's going on in Texas? Good Lordy out there." Shannon, you've been following the Tea Party since the beginning. Are they back? Did they ever leave? Have they been working out in local campaigns like this in Texas?
There's an old song lyric that says, "Don't call it a comeback, they've been here for years." This is not really a comeback. The Tea Party has been quietly working behind the scenes. You've seen less of the rallies, less of the people going out pounding the pavement, and really more of them quietly negotiating, adopting, if you will, some of the tactics of the political parties, the political establishment that they abhor in a lot of ways, adopting some of those tried and true strategies of building up their staffing offices, building up their volunteers, knocking on doors, and that's what they've quietly been doing. This Cruz victory really just represents the latest in their trek towards a hostile takeover of Washington.
Yeah, hostile takeover of Washington. The Tea Party is engaged in a hostile Have you ever heard any group of Democrats who wish to win elections being described as engaged in a hostile takeover? It's like when the Republicans took over the House in 1994. When the Republicans took control of the House in 1994. The Tea Party engaged in a hostile takeover. There's nothing hostile about it. They're winning elections. I'll tell you what the Tea Party's trying to do. The Tea Party is trying to take over the Republican Party, and the Tea Party is trying to get rid of Harry Reid. The Tea Party is attempting to secure the United States Senate for conservative leadership. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Now, are elections hostile takeovers? You note the language that in the story yesterday we had about the Cruz victory, again in the Politico. And it's a one-way street. Caller from Philadelphia is exactly right. Here's Mark McKinnon. Now, McKinnon ran all the media for Bush in 2000 and 2004. And McKinnon, by reputation, media pro. He is a leader in this no labels group. Now, who are the no labels people? They're basically disaffected liberals. They're liberals, moderates, liberals, but they don't want to be called that. So they're no labels. They're better than moderates and better than independents because they're not labeled anything. And he was on CBS this morning today, and the co-host with Charlie Rose, and the question, the victory that Ted Cruz had in Texas, does it further divide the Republican Party or not?
Ted Cruz is not a typical Tea Party candidate. I mean, he is a very thoughtful guy. He's very conservative, right, but he is a very, very smart guy. Not to suggest that other Tea Party candidates aren't, but I think that he's been cast as a sort of typical Tea Party guy, right, and he's not. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table for conservatives. He can kind of create a different persona for many of the conservatives on the Tea Party side and kind of change a little bit of the branding of the Tea Party.
Oh, he meant to say exactly what he said, didn't he? Not a typical Tea Party candidate. I mean, he's very thoughtful, very conservative, very, very smart guy. Now, I don't mean to suggest the other Tea Party. Well, you don't have to suggest it. You said it, Mark. You said it. Cruz is not a typical Tea Party candidate. I mean, he's a very thoughtful guy. He's very conservative, very, very smart. Not a typical Tea Party candidate. But nevertheless, McKinnon likes the guy. Now, who's labeling people now? The no labels guy is out labeling guys. Cruz went to Princeton. He graduated magna cum laude from Harvard Law. And I'll bet you we could see his transcripts. If he was Supreme Court litigator, and he is a real conservative scholar. He's not like all those other Tea Party people. Birth certificate? What, Cruz's birth certificate? Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, if you wanted to see it? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm assuming that, he'd show you the birth certificate. I don't know. What are you trying to stir things up in there for? I don't know I'm sure he would. Anyway, he's not your typical Tea Party guy, folks. Very smart, very, very thoughtful guy, very conservative, not your typical Tea Party. I don't mean to say the other Tea Party candidates aren't, but they're not. Let's be honest. Okay, let's take a break, folks. We'll be back and continue. Forge on.
Rush.